What's going on, guys? So tonight I just closed up the bar. My family's been working on a bar the last 3 years, so that's what I do for work right now. But one of my favorite things, and on the side I like to do, is collect Pokemon, trade and sell. So I'm going to talk about the Shadowless Brushfire theme deck. So I'm still searching for gold strips, and I'm still searching for sealed Shadowless cards. But in the meantime, I've collected a lot of decks that I've just found online that were Shadowless, and they have all the features. I mean, the deck placement is in the top. And what I like about finding these used decks online for the Shadowless cards is that you're getting such... I mean, yes, they're not going to be PSA 10, but I've never really cared about the whole grading scheme. But, you know, you get such character in like a battered, beaten, bruised box. But at the end of the day, most of the time the cards still look really good that are in the box. In this deck's case, the card was in the back. But this is, I can assure you, the original box, which is weird because most Shadowless deck variants have the card in the front. But anyways, I'm gonna open this guy up. So I've got 3, 4, maybe 5 other Brushfire theme decks. Get the counters out. But this is, and the deck is in the top. Placement is in the top. This was the first Shadowless deck that I could get my, well, the set of Shadowless decks. I actually got this, the 2-player starter, Blackout, Zap, and Overgrowth all together Shadowless. It was one guy who was letting go of all this stuff. And he just gave me a good deal because I bought all of his decks outright. But just right off the bat, you know, I put Vulpix in the front. You don't want to have your hollow cards in the front, but just right off the bat, where is my holographic card? Oh, it's in the back there. We need that. Oh. So we got our Ninetales there. Beautiful Shadowless Ninetales. Put that right there. But we've got our Vulpix. So I don't know why, but the Shadowless cards to me look so much better. Just the quality on them is just so much better. Vulpix is definitely one of my favorites. It's got that all black background. The art's dope. And as always, it's got that, it's like one of the most well-known air cards. It's got the HP 50 instead of the 50 HP. I love that. I just love that. Then you've got your Growlithe, Tangela, which is not all that special or great. Shadowless Arcanine. Love this card, it looks beautiful. And I gotta say, the Blaine deck is probably my favorite out of the Gym Heroes set. I'm still looking for a sealed version of the Blaine deck. I have one sealed version of the Blaine deck, but there's some whitening on the glue on the seal. I'm very OCD, and I want a perfectly pristine mint Blaine deck sealed. We've got our Weedles in here. Well, I should just take a little more time. Put that guy up there. We've got our Weedle. Our Weedle. Got 4 of those guys. It's just weird because I definitely wasn't, when I grew up and I was collecting, I never saw the cards like this. It's so weird to see this Beedrill. It just looks so much nicer than the typical base cards. I don't know, the Shadowless cards just, in my opinion, they just look so much nicer. And then of course, we've got probably my favorite in this deck. Good old Charmeleon Shadowless. Ooh, that looks good. I have so much more collecting to do, though. I only have, and of course, definitely, absolutely the favorite. Not the Ninetales. I actually really, really like the Shadowless Charmanders. The artwork on these older cards is just so good. It brings back such nostalgia. And then, of course, all your trainers and all my energies have the 1995, 1996, 1998, or 97, 98. It has 4 dates instead of just 2, I think. But most importantly, everyone's going after them for these guys. So, like I said, this deck, was used, whatever, but at the end of the day, the holo card was still very pristine, and I love that. I love getting these older used decks, and I find a ninetales that's just beautiful like this. It just makes me so happy. The holo is just amazing. Put that guy away. Oh, man. I looked so hard for these Shadowless decks, and then just randomly a bunch of them popped up for sale, and you really have to look. I was bidding on a Shadowless Zap deck just the other night, and it had glue resin marks on the card, and I was just like, no one's gonna buy this. No one's gonna buy this because it's got glue on the Shadowless Mewtwo. But what I liked about that, the reason I'm still salty that I lost it, and I lost that I think for 155, which in my opinion is still really cheap for an opened up used Shadowless deck. You just can't find them. Even 300 to me seems fair for an open Shadowless deck. You could probably get them brand new, the sealed up cards, for I think 400 was a bid that I lost on a sealed deck of Shadowless cards. Now, but the problem with a sealed deck of Shadowless cards is that there might be a glue stain. Where they sealed all the Shadowless cards in the middle, there might be a glue stain. So I like finding them opened up, because technically, if they opened them up when they came out, there shouldn't be a glue stain, because they opened them up immediately, and they probably scratched off whatever glue was on there at that time. From right now, I think the way you get it off is Windex, which is what I'd planned to do with the Shadowless Zap Mewtwo. I had this little strip of glue on the card, and I thought, I'm going to try some Windex on it and see if I can get that off the card. But regardless, I would have kept it that way if it didn't do anything, because it's just cool. If the Zap Shadowless Mewtwo, it belonged to that Shadowless deck box if it had that glue strip on it. It's like original to the box. That's very important to me. I don't want to just buy a bunch of Shadowless cards that have been shoved into a deck box. I worry about that a lot. I like when I buy a deck and it comes complete with everything. This deck was, however, missing a couple Weedles, so I ended up bidding online for a group of Weedles Shadowless, and now I have a couple extra ones. But, every now and then I'll have to replace one or two cards that are like $1. It's not a big deal, but this guy is definitely the favorite of my Shadowless cards. I'm going to be going over the Shadowless decks and my whole deck collection shortly for all the sealed stuff. I want to go over the Shadowless decks first, and then I want to go over the Lava and Turmoil deck, and then the Tempest and the Thunderstorm gift box sets. I think those are really important top tier decks. The Aquapolis sets, I did an opening for one of my mail days recently for one of those. That's a really, really nice set. And then a bunch of Gym Heroes and just, base 2 decks. Just the stuff that you gotta have if you're gonna get the deck sets, which is base 2, Jungle, Fossil, Legendary Collection, Aquapolis. At first I was gonna stay in Generation 1, and then it started Neo, two that I'm forgetting that are really important. The Light and Dark Neo Genesis deck sets. Those were so hard for me to find for a good deal. They're on there for 300 and 500 or 600 for the Dark Typhlosion deck, and I was able to grab those I think for 300-ish for the Typhlosion Dark deck, and I think 200 or 250 for the Light Azumarill deck. So those were recent cops. But yeah, and then of course Sapphire, Ruby, those decks, and then the E-Reader series. I'm starting to get some of the newer stuff, and then of course the booster boxes that are up there. I got a couple ETBs and booster boxes. I don't see myself getting into the newer stuff much, but I can't see why it would hurt to pick up a couple booster boxes for $100 a piece, as long as they're real. These days everything is resealed, which is another issue. But I think picking up anything these days and just sitting on it is a good bet. I don't plan on selling my collection anytime soon. I plan on collecting for another couple decades. But yeah, right now is a really good time to snag this stuff up. I think it's TCA Gaming. I really respect Rusty. I think he's great. If you don't know him, you should go check out TCA Gaming. He's one of my favorite streamers. Really down to earth guy. I'm trying to learn a thing or two from his videos and listening to him. And I just, from what he's said, you really just can't go wrong collecting this stuff and sitting on it. But he thinks the market is at a good low point right now. Stuff has been hit and pretty hard and is relatively cheap right now. And hopefully it continues to get a little cheaper, because I'm trying to keep buying stuff. But for the most part, I've collected all that I think I want to collect for the time being, and I really just want to review and go over a lot of the stuff that I found this year. I think in one of these videos coming up, I'm going to go over a lot of my single cards and holos. But yeah, until next time, peace out, guys. Thank you for watching. We went over the Brushfire Shadowless deck today, one of my favorites. God, they're beautiful. I'll see you guys next time. Oh.